Where? Oh, yes. Oh, that one, Oriental.
The guy doing the jumping jacks. They're in the middle of it.
Is that the Oriental
Yeah,
guy?
the limber guy.
The Oriental
I
guy.
can touch my ankle to your ear.
Is the Oriental guy? He was sitting in a lotus position on his chair last. And then he's got a bag full of shit. What was in that bag? It's like 8 cans of soy sauce or something. And that's our neighbor. He must be living on Roselle, right?
He's a.
The other.
No.
Yes, yes.
The simulations, the guy
With
has
a
a
beard.
body camera, the guy's in the background doing jumping jacks on the body camera.
All right, the time is 7 p.m. We'll call this meeting to order. Would everyone please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Madam Clerk, can we have a roll call, please?
Mayor Pileski.
Here.
Trustee Della Penna.
Here.
Trustee Domke.
Here.
Trustee Forsythe. Here. Trustee Lanisa. Here. Trustee Prokowski.
Here.
Trustee Trejo.
Here. That motion carried. Or we have a quorum, I should say, first and foremost. Second, we'll move on to presentation of the prepared agenda. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, can we have a roll call, please? Or I'll do all those in favor, aye.
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 Those nay. Any abstentions? That motion carries. Get everyone on their toes. We want to first take time before we move on with our agenda to recognize National Volunteer Week. So if I could have our VIPs and our EMA folks come on up in front of the dais real quick. Always a pleasure to get to recognize this group of people. Really help augment. Oh, you guys got to get close to us, so face the audience. I know you outnumber everyone, but. So I'd like to read the proclamation. So whereas National Volunteer Week, celebrated April 20th through the 26th, 2025, is an opportunity to recognize and thank all volunteers who lend their time, talent, voice, and support to causes they care about, especially those who protect and serve our village. And whereas safety and well-being of our community depends on the dedicated service of individuals who selflessly give their time and talents to support our police and our fire departments. And whereas police and fire volunteers play a vital role in enhancing public safety, responding to emergencies, assisting in community outreach, and supporting full-time staff in times of need. And whereas these volunteers demonstrate courage, commitment, and a spirit of service, often responding to serve under challenging conditions. And whereas the village's 32 VIPs volunteered 954 hours in 2024 at 63 different events, and our REMA volunteers logged 475 hours in 2024. And whereas the Village Roselle deeply values the contributions of our police and fire volunteers, now, therefore, let it be resolved that we proclaim April 20th through the 26th, 2025 as National Volunteer Week in the Village of Roselle and pay special tribute to the dedicated service support provided by the volunteers in police service and the Roselle Emergency Management Agency. So thank you all for all you do. I'd now like to turn over to the chiefs to talk about and present you each with a copy of the proclamation. So looks like Beretto's up first.
Well, thank you very much to the volunteers, whether it's a tree that is down or flooding or volunteers on patrol or any one of the numerous events that we have. We can't do it without you. We've had this program at least 20 years. We have people who are constantly donating their time to us, whether it's raining or it's sunny. You're all out there. I can't say enough about what you do. Once again, we could not do it without you. So thank you very much.
On behalf of the fire department, I'd like to reiterate what Chief Beretto said. By you volunteering your time away from family and friends, responding to emergencies, you allow our crews to become available for other emergencies within the community. And there's no way to thank you enough for that volunteering. From from our crews and from myself and the police department, thank you for your time and your effort. We appreciate it. Thank you.
And we arranged for special weather just for you guys today to celebrate, so. Storms come Friday, so you get the day off for that reason. We'll move on to village board public comment. Anyone wishing to provide a comment on a topic or an agenda item may address the village board in person during the public comment and public hearing segments of the village board agenda. Comments will be limited to 3 minutes per person. The village board also adopted the civility pledge, which states, in the interest of civility, I pledge to promote civility by listening, being respectful of others, acknowledging that we are all striving to support and improve our community, and understanding that we each may have different ideas for achieving that objective. Madam Clerk, did anyone submit a witness slip in advance?
One in advance from Yusuf Ahmed.
If you just approach the podium, sir, please state your name clearly into the microphone and continue on with your comment.
Assalamu alaikum. Peace be upon you. My name is Yusuf. I'm here to hopefully clear a few misconceptions in hopes of us becoming less divided than we are today. If you are a Christian, you might say that Jesus, peace be upon him, is your God, who is not God of the Muslims. Well, how about considering the verse from Gospel of John, chapter 5, verse 30, where Jesus, peace be upon him, says in red letter, I can of my own self do nothing. With all due respect, if Jesus, peace be upon him, as you say, is God, then how can he say that he can of himself do nothing? You might say that Jesus, peace be upon him, is a God 3 in 1 because you believe in Trinity, whereas Muslims do not. Well, in case you're not aware, the word Trinity is not mentioned anywhere in the Bible. You might say the verse from 1 John chapter 5, verse 7 is the reason why you believe in Trinity, but you might be surprised to find that this verse was removed from the Revised Standard Version, revised by 32 Christian scholars. If Trinity were true, then why was this verse removed from the Revised Standard Version? You might say, based on the popular King James Bible verse, John chapter 3, verse 16, that Jesus, peace be upon him, is a begotten Son of God, which Muslims do not take him to be. Well, if Jesus, peace be upon him, is the only begotten Son according to this verse, then how is David also a begotten son according to Psalms chapter 2, verse 7? In case you haven't noticed, Bible has many sons of God: David, Solomon, Ephraim. As you look further, you would find that Son of God does not mean literally the Son of God, but rather those who are led by the Spirit of God, as mentioned in Romans chapter 8, verse 14, for as many as are led by the Spirit of God, they are the sons of God. So if you are a godly person, you would be a son of God. Using this criteria, Jesus, peace be upon him, was indeed a son of God, just like Adam was a son of God, as mentioned in Luke chapter 3, verse 38. This makes Jesus, peace be upon him, in the sight of Allah, the same as that of Adam, peace be upon him, which is also what Muslims believe. I end with the verse from the Holy Quran from Surah Al-Imran, chapter 3, verse 59, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, indeed, the example of Jesus, peace be upon him, to Allah is like that of Adam, peace be upon him. He created him from dust, then he said to him, be, and he was. Thank you.
so much. Are there any other members of the public that wish to address the board at this time? Record show none. We'll continue on with our agenda to officials and staff reports. Under mine, I have two items for the board to consider. I'd like to entertain a motion to pass an ordinance amending the Code of Ordinance, Village of Roselle, Illinois, limitation on the number of licenses covering the sale of alcoholic liquors in the Village of Roselle to increase the number of Class T licenses from 17 to 18 for Sunny's Italian Kitchen located on Lake Street. So is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
And just to clarify, they will be obtaining at a future meeting the other liquor license. They're in the current stage of their build out. But in order for them to start the process of obtaining their license from the state, they need to have this obtained from us first. So they're months away from this actually being live and also pending our approval process as it goes on. So any questions or comments from the board? Seeing none, can we have a roll call, please?
Trustee Delapenna.
Aye.
Trustee Domke.
Aye.
Trustee Forsythe. Aye. Trustee Prokowski.
Aye.
Trustee Trejo.
Aye.
Trustee Lanisa.
Aye.
That motion carries. I'd also ask the board to entertain approving entering into an agreement with the city of Lotz, Germany for the establishment of a sister cities relationship. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
I just want to thank the Sister Cities Commission for all the work that they have done. They've been very busy over the last couple of years. And it's really exciting to see the fruits of labor come to bear. We did receive a report from the German committee earlier, and so this gives us kind of the establishment of a framework to let them go out and negotiate terms within this kind of the framework. So we're very excited to be able to add another sister city to the signs here momentarily. So there's no other questions or comments. Then we'll go to a roll call.
Trustee Trejo.
Aye.
Trustee Domke.
Aye.
Trustee Forsythe.
Aye.
Trustee Delapenna.
Aye.
Trustee Prokowski.
Aye.
Trustee Lanisa.
Aye.
That motion carries.
We actually became a international sister city now for sure, right?
Yeah, there we go. So, other than that, I would just, I'm sure there'll be lots of talk of Bachfest coming up, as well as the gala for the food pantry. So a lot of fun events starting to unfold in Roselle, especially as we get to May. So, hang in there because it's going to be very busy. The only other thing I will put out there on the record, I know there's been a lot of talk and discussion regarding the pink pedals that were installed. So that was a manufacturing defect. Thankfully, it's all under warranty. So it's all going to be replaced. It's a process that's been done at water parks in Iowa, for instance, that are in extreme temperatures just like our own. And so for whatever reason, the bonding process just did not occur correctly. So it's not paint, actually. It's a very interesting molecular bond that happens there. So that's going to be repaired and fixed before we get to summer. So at no additional charge to the village. But I know there's a lot of concern about the pink. So it was a very active weekend around town. So want to just clarify that for people. That's all I have under my report. Is there any village trustees that have a report? Trustee Domke.
Keeping the theme of the German sister city. So Friday, the 25th, there's a Dachshund Hound race. There's 14 dogs registered so far. Channel 5 NBC is going to come out to do a little interview with everybody that's there. And the reason it's on Friday is because then the schools, Trinity and Roselle Middle School will send some classes out there at lunchtime so they can watch the dogs race. So there's a Dachshund Hound race on Friday, the 25th, and then the Bachfest parade is Saturday, the 26th. And David, the mayor, are you proclaiming that we are going to have good weather?
I don't like to dabble in that, but I'm sure we'll have fantastic weather. So we've got bullseyes to give out anyway, so I can guarantee that. So
Probably good. Be good for them. So all should come out. It's going to be coming right down here on Prospect Street, heading down Main, and then ending up at, of course, Pollyanna for 8 hours.
Great.
So,
are there other trustees that have a report tonight? Seeing none, we'll move on to village clerk.
Rain barrel sales are going on through next Monday. You can place orders online through next Monday, April 21st, and mail-in orders are due this Friday, April 17th. Pickup for rain barrels is Saturday, April 26th from 8:30 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. And then afterwards, you can attend Bachfest or watch the parade right from the pickup spot at 40 South Prospect Street.
Fantastic. Village attorney?
No.
Village administrator? Moving on to unfinished business. First, we have the consent agenda. All items listed on the consent agenda are considered to be routine, procedural, informational, self-explanatory, or non-controversial in nature and will be enacted in one motion. Be no discussion of these items unless removed from the consent agenda. Are there any items to be removed from the consent agenda?
Can I make a mention of 9E, which is the sidewalk trip hazard removal? So I really want to compliment Public Works on that because I've been on the board long enough to remember where they were not grinding concrete like you guys are doing. They would do the mud jacking or whatever, and there was a limited amount of sidewalks we could do every year. And because you guys broke the mold and decided to go ahead and do that, you get a lot more repair done for the money than they ever did before. So I just want to thank you guys for doing that. That's awesome that you enlisted that type of repair. Very good.
All right. Any items to remove from the consent agenda? Seeing none, tonight we have presentation approval of the village board minutes of March 24th, 2025. A resolution to close the state highway for the purposes of holding the annual Rose Parade on June 1st, 2025. Adopt a resolution authorizing the execution of a contract for the 2025 water main replacement project between the Village of Roselle and Morrow Sewer Construction Incorporated in the amount of $968,954. Adopt a resolution authorizing the execution of a professional engineering services contract for the 2025 water main replacement project construction engineering with Engineering Enterprises Incorporated in the amount of $164,839. And adopt a resolution authorizing the execution of a contract with the Hard Rock Concrete Cutters for the 2025 sidewalk trip hazard removal program not to exceed budgeted amount of $90,000. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Could we have a roll call, please?
Trustee Trejo.
Aye.
Trustee Domke.
Aye.
Trustee Forsythe.
Aye.
Trustee Delapenna.
Aye.
Trustee Prokowski.
Aye.
Trustee Lanisa.
And that motion carries. Move on to Development and Engineering Services. Trustee Perkowski.
Thank you, Mayor Pulaski. I'd like to move adoption of a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute change order number 1 for the 2025 pavement preservation and seal coating program between the Village of Roselle and Denler Incorporated for the additional work in the amount of $24,704.39.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, could we have a roll call, please?
Trustee Prokowski.
Aye.
Trustee Trejo.
Aye.
Trustee Forsythe.
Aye.
Trustee Delapenna.
Aye.
Trustee Lanisa.
Aye.
And that motion carries.
And that is all I have, Mayor Pulaski.
Thank you. Move on to Administration. Trustee Domke.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to pass an ordinance authorizing the sale of a real estate and approving and authorizing the execution of a purchase and sale agreement for the real estate commonly referred to as 435 East Irving Park Road, Roselle, Illinois, 60172.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion on this item? Seeing none, could we have a roll call, please?
Trustee Domke.
Aye.
Trustee Trejo.
Aye.
Trustee Lanisa. Trustee Forsythe.
Aye.
Trustee Delapenna.
Aye.
Trustee Prokowski.
Aye.
That motion carries. That is it for administration tonight. We have nothing under fire or police, but Public Works. Trustee Trejo.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to make a motion to adopt a resolution authorizing the village administrator to sign letter of intent to award to John Burns Construction for a contract for the Boderman STP Biological Nutrient Removal Upgrades Project.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, could we have a roll call, please?
Trustee Trejo.
Aye.
Trustee Delapenna.
Aye.
Trustee Forsythe.
Aye.
Trustee Prokowski.
Aye.
Trustee Lanisa. Trustee Domke.
That motion carries.
I'd like to make a motion to adopt a resolution approving and authorizing the mayor to execute a contract by and between the Village of Roselle and Door Systems ASA Abloy US Incorporated for the Fire and Public Works Department's overhead door improvements in the amount not to exceed $56,054.00.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, could we have a roll call, please?
Trustee Trejo.
Aye.
Trustee Delapenna.
Aye.
Trustee Lanisa. Trustee Forsythe.
Aye.
Prokowski.
Aye.
Trustee Domke.
Aye.
That motion carries.
That's all, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. We'll move on to Finance. Trustee Forsythe.
Thank you, Mayor Pulaski. I would like to move approval of the accounts payable list for April 14th, 2025 in the amount of $1,397,979.41.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, could we have a roll call, please?
Trustee Forsythe.
Aye.
Trustee Trejo.
Aye.
Trustee Domke.
Aye.
Trustee Delapenna.
Aye.
Trustee Prokowski.
Aye.
Trustee Lanisa.
Aye.
That motion carries. All right, moving on to new business. We have one item for discussion to provide direction to staff regarding the text amendments to the landscape section of the zoning ordinance regarding tree preservation. So we'll have our community development manager, Karen Briggs, presenting. Welcome.
Thanks. We last spoke about tree preservation in November.
So I've taken kind of everything that was agreed upon generally at that meeting, and added that language or changed the language in the draft ordinance. That the language itself will be finessed, but with the village attorney and such. One outstanding item, is section F3, which requires a fine for any tree that is damaged, destroyed, or removed that was originally intended to be preserved. So this is something that we'll need to set as part of the amendment to the tree preservation ordinance. Staff recommends a fine of at least an amount at least equal to the fee in lieu price, so that, property owners aren't encouraged to say a tree will be protected and then accidentally remove it when it was supposed to be protected. So they don't circumvent the ordinance. Typically for our citations, they're just a minimum of $35, so that's not really creating a cost prohibition either. So I'm recommending at least the fee in lieu amount, or I'm open to discussion, obviously, on that. And then I also included an explanation for why the specific types of trees in the prohibited and nuisance list were included.
Trustee Prokowski,
I've
coming in
got,
hot right out of the gate.
I just have two things. One, for the number of trees that are the same species, I think the percentage might have been accidentally flipped, because the way it's written now, if you have 4 trees, you could have 4 of the same species, but if you have 5, none of them can be the same species. So it might.
Yes, you're right.
So we're talking about, just to be sure everyone's on the same page, it's section F, subheading 5D, specifically where it says, well, it's written right now to say Win 5, but you're suggesting it to be Win 20, remain that, correct?
No, what I'm suggesting is that it should be the 80, it should have been 80% of.
Oh, you're saying we need, okay, I understand.
So that you could have 4 of the,
Yes.
4 maples and 1 oak.
Yes.
So that's the first thing. And then for the fee that you mentioned, I think that we should have it set so it'd be the cost of the fee in lieu, and then an additional $35 or $50 on top of that. So it's not, there actually is some penalty for if they don't go through the proper process, as opposed to it just being the same and just kind of catching them on the back end.
Let's start with Trustee Prokowski's first point. Is everyone aligned with the comments regarding section F5D and flipping that to 80%? Is that something that everyone can agree with? Okay, we'll make that as a note then to direction on staff. On the other one regarding the fee for the penalty, he's suggested that we go with the fee in lieu plus a nominal amount. So I'm going to go with $50. I heard. Is that something that there's consensus from the board on that piece of it, or do you prefer having it just the fee in lieu? Meaning the cost of whatever our current contractual tree planting is.
I'm okay with the additional 50 as well.
Other thoughts? Trustee Trejo?
I think the fee in lieu is fine with me. I feel like if someone accidentally does something, it's not really like willful, so I don't know why there'd be like an extra penalty on that. So if there was construction going on, they accidentally damaged a tree, I think there should be the fee in lieu that they would have to pay, but I would not do a additional fee on top of it.
Okay, so I've got 2 for the slight extra, 1, keep it the fee in lieu. Trustee Lanisa?
I am not for the addition.
Okay. So I got 2-2,
I am not for the additional penalty.
3-2. Trustee Domke?
Like additional fees.
All right, so fee in lieu remains the same for either case, so that makes it a little bit easier from writing the ordinance at least. Other thoughts or questions from the board? Trustee Domke?
Just want to ask a question because I might be buying a house that's got a big Christmas tree in front of the house. And the insurance company would say, that thing's got to go. It was planted way too close to the house and it's 40 feet high. Can I take that down? I mean, every other tree is protected. That's,
I think if you read this, though, unless you require a public hearing by the Planning and Zoning Commission, then you don't need to get permission. If you're going before the Planning and Zoning Commission, or there's a site plan reviewed, then this does not apply to you.
When will I have to have a site plan review?
Well, if the neighbor to the south or to the north of this hypothetical property, they're doing an addition. That would be one where I would think they would need a site plan. Would that be correct?
So site plan is defined in the zoning ordinance is mostly for any new commercial or industrial build outs that otherwise meet code.
This is not a build out. Let's say it's not a build out. It's something I'm buying and I'm inheriting a tree that doesn't belong there. And it's not on one of these nuisance trees,
Right.
and it's this big a diameter,
Mm-hmm.
and it's gonna cost $3,000 to take it down. What do I have to do now?
Nothing.
Nothing.
This only applies if you have to go to planning and zoning or you need a site plan. So if you're not doing new construction or you're going above and beyond the
A
current
guy
allowable
that's just
construction,
landscaping and takes a tree out,
does not apply.
does not have any of this. Okay, that's cool. I just wanted to find
If you
out.
want to overbuild your lot per our zoning, then that would require that. So if you want to overbuild and so you want to go above a lot variance that's on there, then you'd have to go through this process. But if you're
Pulling
not,
a permit for that kind of work anyway, so you probably would have a site plan in relation to if you're doing a build out, right?
I think that's our intent.
Mhm.
Streamline it a little bit.
Okay, that puts it where I can understand it.
Other questions or comments on the board? I know I, for one, appreciate the simplicity of it now. I think it's a lot easier to understand that instead of worrying about diameters and converting that to dollars and stuff like that, I think this gets the mission of what we're trying to do with this. And I think selfishly, I think we've implemented it better than other communities have done it in terms of readability. So I appreciate that element of it. So
We
it's
stuck with it too.
like the chickens.
Gee.
I know it's a hard point to bring up for you, I know, but I think we, when we deliberate, I think a lot of times our board meetings seem like they go quickly, but we do have multiple evenings of discussion on changes like this, so we can get the right language out there for the public, and I think this is one of those examples where we spent a number of meetings talking about it, and it reflects that, so. Are there any other, so the only change I have right now is the 80% in section F5D. Is there any other changes that people would like to make? I guess the other change or the thing we'd be codifying is the fee in lieu for the penalty. Are there any other changes or things that the board would like to consider or give staff direction on before this goes before the board for consideration? So as far as direction, we're good to put this on a future agenda then with those changes?
Yes.
Yep.
All right, thank you so much. I know this took a lot of work, so thank you. With that being said, we do have a second opportunity for public comments. Is there any member of the public that wishes to address the board at this time? The record show none. Is there any other business for discussion only from the board tonight? Show none. I'd like to entertain a motion to convene executive session for the purpose to discuss personnel.
So moved.
Your second?
Second.
Could I have a roll call, please? Oh, and no final action will be taken in the meeting. We'll be adjourning from executive session. Roll call.
Trustee Trejo.
Aye.
Trustee Domke.
Aye.
Trustee Delapenna.
Aye.
Trustee Forsythe.
Aye.
Trustee Kirkowski.
Aye.
Trustee Lanisa.